Welcome to my channel, The Quiet Observer, where we break down human behavior, psychology, and the patterns most people miss. Now let's get into today's video.
What if I told you that your longing for the past isn't just a feeling, but a complex dance happening in your brain right now? We're unraveling the neural pathways that ignite that bittersweet ache and the dopamine rushes that keep you coming back for more. Prepare to understand the hidden power behind your most cherished memories. To understand why we crave the past, we first have to understand how long we've been misunderstood. For centuries, nostalgia wasn't seen as a warm, fuzzy feeling. It was a medical diagnosis. In 1688, a Swiss medical student named Johannes Hofer noticed that mercenaries fighting far from their mountain homes were falling into states of profound despair. They weren't just sad, they were physically ill. They suffered from heart palpitations, insomnia, and high fevers. Hofer called this nostalgia, combining the Greek words nostos, meaning homecoming, and algos, meaning pain or ache. Back then, doctors actually believed nostalgia was a literal disease caused by animal spirits vibrating through the brain fibers of the homesick soldiers. They tried treating it with everything from leeches to opium, and in some truly bizarre cases, they believed the constant clanging of cowbells in the Swiss Alps had physically bruised the eardrums and brains of these soldiers, making them crave home. Fast forward to the 21st century, and we've realized that Hofer had the ache part right, but the disease part completely wrong. Today, we know that nostalgia is a sophisticated survival mechanism. It's a vital psychological resource that helps us navigate the present and prepare for the future. But to see how it works, we have to look under the hood and explore the intricate architecture of the human brain. When you experience a flash of nostalgia, you aren't just thinking about a memory. You are re-experiencing it. This process involves a massive multi-region coordination effort. It begins in the hippocampus, the seahorse-shaped structure deep in the temporal lobe that acts as your brain's librarian. The hippocampus is responsible for encoding and storing your long-term memories. But a memory on its own is just dry data. It's the what, where, and when of your life. To turn that data into the rich emotional experience of nostalgia, the hippocampus has to initiate a conversation with the amygdala. The amygdala is the brain's emotional processing center. If the hippocampus provides the blueprint of your childhood home, the amygdala is what provides the warmth of the sunlight hitting the kitchen floor, or the specific feeling of safety you felt there. This partnership is what gives a memory its flavor. However, the dance is even more complex. While these two structures are firing, the ventral striatum, the core of your brain's reward system, lights up. This area is flooded with dopamine, the same neurotransmitter associated with pleasure, motivation, and even addiction. This is why nostalgia feels so good. It's a natural internal hit of joy. But nostalgia isn't just pure joy. It's bittersweet. That bitter part comes from the prefrontal cortex, the seat of high-level executive function and self-reflection. This is the part of the brain that maintains your sense of now. When the prefrontal cortex gets involved, it realizes there is a gap between the beautiful memory being replayed and the current reality. It's the realization that this moment is gone that creates that poignant, aching sensation. It's a unique neurological state where the brain is simultaneously experiencing the pleasure of the past and the loss of the present. You might wonder why our brains are wired this way. Why would evolution favor a mind that looks backward? One of the most compelling reasons is self-continuity. Life is a series of jarring transitions. We move, we change jobs, we lose friends, and our bodies age. These changes can make us feel like our lives are fragmented, like the person we were 10 years ago is a stranger. Nostalgia acts as the ultimate glue. By accessing these deeply encoded memories, the brain reminds itself that despite all the external changes, the I at the center of the story remains the same. This stabilizing force is essential for mental health. Research shows that people who engage in nostalgia regularly have a stronger sense of self and a higher capacity to handle stress. This leads us to one of the most famous phenomena in the neuroscience of memory, the reminiscence bump. If you ask a person in their late 50s to recount their most vivid memories, they won't give you an equal distribution across their whole life. Instead, they will overwhelmingly focus on the period between the ages of 15 and 25. Why? Because during those years, your brain is at its peak level of plasticity. This is the identity formation stage. It's when you're experiencing many firsts. First love, first job, first taste of independence. These experiences are burned into your neural pathways with a level of chemical intensity that later life rarely matches. This is why the music you loved at 17 will likely always be your favorite music. Your brain didn't just hear those songs, it wove them into the very fabric of your developing identity. But how do we get back there? What triggers this time travel? While we can deliberately think about the past, the most powerful nostalgic hits are involuntary. This brings us to the Proustian moment, named after the writer Marcel Proust, who famously described how a bite of a Madeleine cake dipped in tea sent him spiraling back into his childhood. This happens because of the unique way our senses are wired. Most of our senses, sight, touch, hearing, have to pass through the thalamus, which acts as a relay station before they reach the parts of the brain that process emotion and memory. But the sense of smell is different. The olfactory bulb, which processes scents, has a direct express lane connection to the amygdala and the hippocampus. This is why a specific perfume, the smell of rain on hot asphalt, or the scent of a specific brand of crayons can transport you instantly. Before your logical brain can even identify the smell, your emotional brain has already opened the vault. It is the most direct neurological time machine we possess. Music works in a similar, though slightly more complex, way. When you hear a song from your past, it engages the auditory cortex, but it also syncs up with the medial prefrontal cortex. This area is one of the last to atrophy in patients with Alzheimer's, which explains why music therapy can be so incredibly effective. Even when a person has lost the ability to remember their own name, a song from their reminiscence bump can reignite their personality, causing them to dance or sing along. The music acts as a key, unlocking neural pathways that were thought to be lost forever. In our modern world, we are currently living through a massive nostalgia boom. We see it in the endless cycle of movie reboots, the resurgence of 90s fashion, and the massive popularity of retro gaming. This isn't just a marketing trend. It's a collective neurological response to a high-stress, rapidly changing environment. When the future feels uncertain or the present feels overwhelming, the brain naturally retreats to the known to gather emotional resources. This is known as compensatory nostalgia. By immersing ourselves in the familiar, we lower our cortisol levels, the primary stress hormone, and increase our levels of oxytocin, the hormone associated with bonding and safety. However, there is a catch. The brain's memory system is not a high-definition video recorder. It's an artist. Every time you pull a memory out of storage and look at it, you are actually reconsolidating it. You're essentially rewriting the file. Over time, your brain tends to smooth out the rough edges. This is a cognitive bias called rosy retrospection. You remember the beautiful sunset on your beach vacation, but your brain conveniently forgets the 6-hour flight delay or the sunburn. This can become a trap if we aren't careful. The late scholar Svetlana Boym categorized nostalgia into two types: reflective and restorative. Reflective nostalgia is healthy. It's when you look back, enjoy the feeling, and then use that warmth to fuel your current life. Restorative nostalgia, however, is the desire to actually return to the past or recreate it exactly. This can lead to a state of declinism, where we believe the world is fundamentally broken and that things were just better back then. Biologically, this can lead to a cycle of dissatisfaction as we compare an idealized, edited past to a messy, unedited present. The present will always lose that comparison because it's the only one that's real. The real power of understanding the neuroscience of nostalgia lies in using it as a tool for resilience. When you feel lonely, your brain often triggers nostalgia to remind you that you are capable of being loved and that you have a social history. It's your brain's way of saying, you've done this before, you can do it again. In clinical settings, nostalgia therapy is being used to treat depression and anxiety. By guiding patients to focus on positive, self-affirming memories, therapists can help them rebuild their self-esteem and find the motivation to face the future. We also see this play out in how we build communities. Collective nostalgia is what happens when a group of people shares a memory of a common past. This can be incredibly powerful for social cohesion. It's why sports fans feel such a deep bond over games played decades ago, or why certain generations feel such a strong us versus them mentality. It's the brain's way of identifying its tribe. By sharing a past, we feel safer in the present. As we look toward the future, the way we experience nostalgia is changing. In the past, memories were often fleeting or tied to physical objects like printed photos. Today, we have digital archives of almost every moment of our lives. We have on this day notifications and year-in-review videos curated by algorithms. This constant stream of the past can be a double-edged sword. On one hand, it provides a rich well of triggers for those hit-the-spot dopamine rushes. On the other hand, it can prevent us from the natural process of forgetting, which is actually essential for a healthy brain. Forgetting allows the brain to prioritize what's important. If we are constantly bombarded with every minor detail of our past, we might lose the ability to see the big picture of who we are becoming. We are even seeing the rise of a phenomenon called anemoia. Nostalgia for a time you've never actually lived in. This is why a teenager today might feel a deep longing for the 1970s or 80s. Their brain is responding to the aesthetic and the vibe of that era as a form of escapism. It's the brain's way of searching for a simpler time as a buffer against the complexities of the digital age. Ultimately, nostalgia is a testament to the human brain's incredible capacity for time travel. We are the only species that can live in the present while simultaneously drawing strength from a past that no longer exists. It is a gift of our biology, a way to ensure that even in our darkest moments, we have a library of light to draw from. It's a reminder that our stories have roots, that our experiences have meaning, and that we are more than just the sum of our current stresses. So, the next time you find yourself caught in a wave of longing for your old neighborhood or feeling a surge of joy at the sound of a song you haven't heard in years, don't just brush it off. Lean into it. Recognize that your brain is performing a complex, beautiful, and vital ritual. It's checking in on your identity, rewarding you for your journey, and giving you the chemical boost you need to keep writing your story. Your past isn't a place you're losing. It's a reservoir of strength that you carry with you in every neuron and synapse. Use it to find your balance, to remember your worth, and to bridge the gap between who you were and who you are, still becoming. The ache of the past is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of a life lived, a brain that remembers, and a heart that still has the capacity to feel. By understanding the neuroscience behind the crave, we can turn that bittersweet longing into a powerful engine for a more grounded and resilient future.
Thanks for watching The Quiet Observer. If you'd like to go deeper, I've linked some helpful self-help books in the description below. I'll see you in the next video.